Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, this is the weekend, once a year, when we have the meeting of the Bilderberg Group. It's the 63rd meeting this weekend, and it's in Austria. Now, thanks to the alternative media, lots more people have heard about the Bilderberg Group than ever before. It's still a fraction compared with the global population, but for a long time, hardly anybody had ever heard of it. And that was just what the Bilderberg Group wanted, because what it is, it's a forum and a gathering of people from different areas of the system and different countries, uh, finance, politics, corporations, intelligence, media, and so on. And the idea is to coordinate the same agenda, the same policies among all these apparently unconnected people so that the same agenda unfolds everywhere. And to bring in to these conferences people that maybe in a particular subject area at a particular time, they need these people to act in a certain way. And the idea of bringing them into Bilderberg is to use that opportunity to, shall we say, persuade them that the Bilderberg policy in this particular area or that is the one that they should pursue. And they've been, when you do the deep research, they've been extraordinarily successful in pushing their policies on the world. The Bilderberg Group was at the heart of the creation of the European Union and the introduction of the single European currency, the euro. It's been behind globalization, which is what? The incessant centralization of power in the world, which is what the Bilderberg organization is all about in its many and various forms, centralizing power in all areas of our lives. And it's been behind economic crashes and many and various things that have actually directed the world in a certain direction of policy that the Bilderberg and its insider shadow controllers want to see in the world. And so when you think that for decades and decades and decades, the Bilderberg Group and its connected operations, which virtually no one knew about, has been making decisions and causing the introduction of changes in the world that have fundamentally affected the lives of those people who had no idea it existed. And even now, compared with the population as a whole, still tragically few have heard of the Bilderberg Group, and never mind what it actually does. And Bilderberg is not an entity in and of itself. It's part of a web. It's part of a web immediately connecting to organizations in its, if you feel like its own little web. But that web is part of the greater global web, which I'm going to talk about and describe today, along with the topics for discussion at this year's Bilderberg, and particularly the one that should be center stage in people's mind: artificial intelligence, or AI, machines taking over human society. And that's not some sci-fi, it will come sometime over the rainbow. It's actually unfolding around us now, every day, drip by drip by drip. So I'll come to that in the connection to this year's Bilderberg conference as this videocast proceeds. But some history, first of all. In the latter part of the 19th century, a secret society was created called the Round Table. It was created by the Rothschilds, basically. and its first head was a Rothschild gopher known as Cecil Rhodes, who plundered southern Africa and the gold and diamond reserves on behalf of the Rothschilds. What happened then is this round table started spawning satellite groups. In 1920, it created the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London. 1921, the Council on Foreign Relations in the United States, which still today is fundamental in directing and manipulating United States foreign policy. In 1954 came the Bilderberg Group, and in 1968 came the Club of Rome, which has been the vehicle for using the environment and global warming as the excuse for more and more centralization of power and more erosion of freedoms and the transformation of human society in its endless forms that come out of we must save the planet. I'm all for that. I'm all for respecting the environment. I'm all for not destroying the environment, but that's not what this is about. It's about using the environment to create a problem to which they can offer the solution, which is introducing their agenda of global control and transformation of human society, not least industrially. And these same people were behind the creation in 1945 of the United Nations. Because the United Nations is what? It's a vehicle for the global centralization of power. It's a stalking horse. The United Nations is not as it is in terms of it's meant to stay like it is. It's like it is as a stepping stone to fully fledged world government, world dictatorship. There's some of these guys that people these organizations. Another one I should mention is the Trilateral Commission that was brought in the early 1970s by David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski, Jimmy Carter's former national security advisor, both fundamentally involved in this whole agenda that I'm talking about. And so we have gone about our lives and gone to work, brought up our families, looked at the news and seen how the world is changing because this decision has been made by the government, or this decision has been made by that government, or this organization, or this war's broken out, or that oil price hike has happened, or this economic collapse has happened. And all the time, behind the scenes, in the shadows, away from public attention, these organizations that work as one unit, including the Bilderberg Group, have actually been creating and directing those changes. And while this has been going on, people in the media, the mainstream media, have ignored the existence of the Bilderberg Group until at least some of them couldn't anymore because of the alternative media more recently. And B, when they have spoken about the Bilderberg Group, it's been in terms of these lunatic conspiracy theorists and what they say about it. But let's just look at this from a deep breath, take a step back, look at it again point of view. The Bilderberg Group is a meeting once a year, and of course there's a steering committee that meets all the time, but it's a meeting once a year of people in politics that people have actually elected. In the media, you're supposed to be impartial, it says here, and tell people what's going on in the world, and find out what's going on in the world from the system that doesn't want people to know. It's supposed to be a journalist's job, I thought. And yet, these politicians, corporate people, bankers, government officials, journalists, have been gathering together year after year to discuss where the world is going and where it should go. And the people who have been subjected to those changes often in a very negative way, not only have had no say in what was decided, they've not even known what was decided and who by, because it's been done in secret. Oh, them conspiracy theorists. No, the most out there theorists in the world, coincidence theorists, who think that all these connections and all these things that happen in coordination are somehow happening by chance, by random accident. What a nonsense it is. I first came across the Bilderberg group back in the early 1990s, and the first one I got close to was in 1995, a place called Bergenstock in Switzerland. I was staying with some friends about 2 hours, 3 hours drive away in Switzerland, way down near the Italian border, when I got a communication, like a round-robin communication from the American journalist Jim Tucker, saying that he'd established where the Bilderberg meeting was this year, and it was that these hotels, one was called the Palace, another one called the Grand, this place called Bergenstock. So just before it started, I went out there. And I got up to the hotels, and you had the people in the shades. You know, when you see these kind of films with, the feds in the shades and all that stuff, and the suits. And you think, oh, maybe that's a bit far-fetched. It's not. It's what they look like. It's what they act like. Anyway, they were all there. All the preparations were going on. And I got up to the hotels. It was a few days before. And then on one of the days that the conference was actually going on, I went again. This time, I couldn't even get onto the mountain. As soon as you turned off the main road onto the road that went up the mountain to these hotels where this Bilderberg meeting was going on, there were the Swiss police with roadblocks. You couldn't go any further. And I chatted to this Swiss policeman at the roadblock in his big luminous orange jacket. And I asked him what was going on. And he was a nice bloke, but he didn't know. He just knew that there was a meeting of important people going on up there. And he had to stop anyone getting up there on this road and through this roadblock. And that's how it works. Compartmentalization. People are only allowed to know within the system what they need to know to do what they need to do. And so you can go very high in the system, in all the different areas, before you find anybody that actually is in awareness of what the hell it's all about and what's going on.